I've had some great mentorship and a lot of great advice and just a lot of steps implemented to what I was trying to do early on. So, when I got into the production aspect, shout out to a guy by the name of Solly Williams, producer as well, out of Houston, Texas. A lot of people know him for producing Mike Jones, Paul Wall, Slim Thug. And, he was one of those people to where, he showed me a lot of different things when it came to the technical aspect of production, more so on the hardware side of things, and software too, but more so hardware, with actually using MPCs and rolling keyboards and 808 drum machines and, just the really, really analog sound of things. So that right there kind of implemented those techniques into the software side, because now, as technology started getting more advanced, you can actually patch some of those, analog gear into the software. So you'll have, you can have either that digital sound or that analog sound, but you can still use it in the software and manipulate it with VSTs too. So that was something that, I was learning, throughout time. And, it was tough at times, because, when you don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? Just that experience at first, and you're just kind of going in blindly, really, really young. Like, there's so much to learn, and sometimes you get discouraged because you're working with this big person, and you're like, I'm unprepared. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I was just one of those young kids. I was just soaking up everything that I could. And, the more I've gotten under my belt and the more I've done, it just kept rolling, and the rest is history. It started placing records and just connecting with different people and, just trying to be versatile as possible, because, that's what has helped me win throughout my whole career, is me being versatile in all genres. So, I really wasn't stuck in just hip hop. It would be hip hop, then it would be R&B, then it would be house dance, then it would be soul music, then it would be EDM and pop, so just the whole spectrum, which I think that's very important. At this point, there's no boundaries in music. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much infusion of things going on and so much genre bending that sometimes it's hard to even classify what music is in what genre anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what they say, it's a mood, or it's just vibes or whatever. Like, it's really that. Like, it's just what makes you feel a certain way. If it makes you feel good, then that's what it is. But I never really try to like classify music into like one thing or like a category, because sometimes I think that's unfair. Like, I think art is art. You know what I mean? So like with Blue Leisure and Kaleidoscopes, I put those in art form. You know what I mean? So, the typical consumer would probably say, yeah, it's R&B, right? Or it could be considered R&B, hip hop, or whatever. And that's cool. But, as the creatives, we think about it as, okay, these are bodies of work that, we've crafted a certain way as an artistic expression. So we're not going into it to say like, okay, I have to make an R&B project or a hip hop project. Like, it's just about making something that's dope, timeless, creative, outside of the box, and just keeping that formula going. And then you just keep creating the same thing over and over. And that even goes to a different topic of, you hear a lot of people say, well, I want this artist to recreate what they did on their first album, or I want the old whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, it's impossible to recreate your first album because you're not in that place anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you were probably in maybe a sunken place or a bad place, and then those emotions and those experiences came out in the songs and it resonated with you. But I'm not there anymore. I've grown, I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser, I've gotten better. So how can I recreate going back to that time? Like, I've never understood that aspect of that. But to people's defense, you know, maybe the style of music or the sonics of it or the subject matter to a degree, maybe, you know, because there's a lot of people that just, you know, they want to get stuff for the times and, you know, recreate stuff because it worked in the past. And, you know, I get that part. But, I mean, it's impossible. Like for me personally, I can never recreate Blue Leisure. I can never do that because it was just a time to where that's what I felt. And you can't stay the same forever. Like it's always about growth, you know, whether it's you personally as a person or musically, like no one can stay the same. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think it's unfair to artists because it's like, you want us to like drop new stuff and change things up. But then when we do it, you like, well, it sounds like this person and I don't like it. Go back to the old stuff. And then you get mad at us if we go back to the old stuff because it sounds too much like the old stuff. So it's like, where do we go?